So in Nebraska, continuing education for real estate professionals can be sometimes really confusing. So I'm going to break it down for you in this video. Hey everyone, my name is Paul Vacheski. I'm the director of Randall School of Real Estate here in Omaha, Nebraska. And my goal with this video is to help you navigate through the requirements for continuing education so you can renew your license without any hiccups. Now, here's the thing about continuing education in Nebraska. It's problematic at best. There's a lot of different variations and combinations you can use to accumulate your required hours. And again, this video, I'm hopefully going to outline everything that you as a real estate professional need to know. So let's take a look at the requirements to renew your license. Now, a real estate licensee in Nebraska needs to have a total of 18 hours of continuing education every 2 years to renew their license. Now, how you accumulate those 18 hours depends on the type of continuing education that you take. There's two types of continuing ed. There is the traditional 3-hour or 6-hour segmented classes called CE or continuing ed. And then we have this thing called commission approved training, which used to be called broker approved training. Now, technically under the law, a real estate professional to renew their license must have 12 hours of continuing education and 6 hours of commission approved training, or what we call CAT training. However, you are allowed to substitute 6 hours of regular continuing ed in lieu of those commission approved training. Now, irregardless of how you do this, 6 of the 18 must be what's called required content courses, or sometimes it's known as R courses or R content. So of the 18 hours, not in addition, but of the 18 hours, 6 hours must be required content. And by the way, no commission approved training is considered required content. So let's take a look of how you can identify what's required and what's not. On your screen, there's two courses, 0254 Selling Land and Lots. That is a 3-hour continuing education course that we offer here at Randall, but notice there's no R behind the 4-digit course number. This is just CE, that's it, no required content. And so you could only take that every 4 years in 1 day for renewing your license. 0093R, notice the R there, contract law, that's another course that we offer. And because it is an R course, you can repeat that every cycle for renewal. So that's how we tell the difference between what's an R course and what's not an R course. Now, again, be very careful here. R courses can be taken and repeated every renewal cycle. Non-R courses, you have to wait 4 years and 1 day. And also be aware that if you are using commission approved training towards your CE, two things you must understand. Number one, they must be accumulated in 3-hour increments, and you can only have a maximum of 6 hours of commission approved training. So here's one other cool thing about commission approved training. They can be in 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, or 6 hour segments. And you can repeat them. So let's say that your broker has a class called Purchase Agreements approved by the Real Estate Commission for 1 hour of commission approved training. So you take that class 6 times. Even though it's the same class, you get 6 hours of commission approved training as long as you didn't take that course on the same day. So there is no repeat rule for commission approved training. So however you decide to structure your CE will determine what you have to take. So let's just look at the very bottom here on the left-hand side. Here are 3 potential ways you can organize your commission or your continuing ed for renewal. You could just go to our school or some other school or online and take just 18 hours of regular continuing education to fulfill the requirement. Another option is you can take 15 hours of traditional continuing education and then take 3 hours of commission approved training, or you can take 12 hours of your traditional continuing education plus 6 hours of commission approved training. Notice the thing here though, they're all in 3-hour increments, and that's something very important to remember. All right, next we're going to talk about property managers. Now, property management isn't specific to one genre of real estate in Nebraska. So whether you're managing residential property or commercial or industrial or agriculture, the same rules apply, and that is on your licensing renewal application, if you're required to check that you you conduct property management activities, then the continuing education requirements for property managers apply to you. So let's take a look at what property managers and what their requirement for renewal is. All right, property managers, here's something you need to know, and that is, like every other licensee in Nebraska, you got to have 18 hours every 2 years, and again, a minimum of 6 hours of required content. But 3 hours of your 18, not in addition, but 3 hours of your 18 must be what we call property management or PM designated class. So let's take a look here. We offer a course at Randall. It's 0068 RPM, that's the course number, and the title is Landlord Tenant Act. So in this case here, if you were a property manager and you were taking this course, here's what you would get. You would get 3 hours of continuing education. You would get 3 hours of R content or required content. And this also will fulfill your requirement to have a property management designated contented course. So the key here is that PM at the end of the course number. All right, so last but not least are realtor members. And there's a lot of confusion surrounding the ethics requirement, because ethics is not a state mandated education requirement, it's a membership requirement. So if you are a member of the National Association of Realtors, then you must take the Code of Ethics every 2 years to maintain your membership. Now the good thing in Nebraska is all the Code of Ethics classes are considered not only continuing education, but they're also required content. So if you're a realtor member, let's take a look at what's required for you. So realtor members, just like everybody else, you need 18 hours every 2 years. Don't forget, a minimum of 6 hours must be required content. Please make sure, realtor members, that 3 hours of your 18 is an ethics course. Now we offer this course on your screen, 0919R, Ethics in Today's Real Estate World. So if you were to take that class, not only is it worth 3 hours of continuing education, it is 3 hours of required content, and it would fulfill NAR's ethics requirement. So one last thing to remember here. Let's say that you're obviously a licensee and you need the 18 hours, but you're a property manager and you're a member of the Realtors Association. It'd be very important for you to keep in mind that not only do you have to take those 3 hours of property management designated courses, but you also have to have the ethics. So as you're planning the classes and courses that you're going to take, please keep that in mind. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those folks that take CE through us, we do track all of your CE, and we do make sure that you don't repeat any classes that won't count for credit. We also will help you structure the classes that you need to take so you can get all of your designated courses taken, PM, ethics, and those type of things. So we'll assist you in that if you take your courses from us. All right, that's all I got in this video. Do me a favor before you leave. If you would comment down below or leave a question, we will answer any questions that you post. We do monitor this YouTube channel. And if you would, please, if you would give this video a thumbs up, click on that little subscribe button, click on that little notification bell.